Hello and welcome! My name is Jocelyn and today is a very exciting video. This video is in collaboration with Zeyn here on YouTube. I will make sure to link Zeyn's channel down below, as well as her video that's in collaboration with me. I first found Zeyn through a collab that she did with LS, so I saw L's video first and then I went to Zeyn's channel and watched her video, and the first thing I noticed about Zeyn was how absolutely incredible her hair is. I mean, you just see one video, one picture of her and you know what I'm talking about. She's got the most voluptuous, beautiful, red curly hair I've ever seen in my life. I've got major hair envy. She's got, oh, just beautiful hair. And also I just really loved the message behind her channel and her vibe. The purpose, the goal, the message behind her channel is to curate rather than collect. So she's very much into the low buy realm, the declutter realm, the don't bring a lot of things into your life, don't spend a lot of money on things that you don't actually love and you don't actually need. So if that interests you at all, definitely check her channel out. She's got some really great content. She also just started her channel at the beginning of the year and has seen immense growth and people responded really well to it. So I would highly recommend checking her channel out. I think that you will not be disappointed. So I saw her video, I left a comment on it just talking about how in love I was with her hair amongst other things, and then she reached out to me and asked if I would be interested in collaborating on a video idea, and I said absolutely yes please. The video idea that we settled on is a duping the vibes kind of video idea. What we wanted to do is take single shadows that we already owned and dupe the vibes of something to create a 6-pan eyeshadow palette. So the concept, the idea that we settled on was springtime wildflowers. So we are in spring currently. I don't know what the weather is where everybody else is. Here in Southern Oregon, it's very rainy weather. We have lots of wildflowers popping up all over the place. And so it definitely feels very appropriate for this time of year to put together a pastel, a colorful palette that is inspired by wildflowers. So I don't know what Zeyn's gonna put together, but I'm very excited to see what exactly she drew inspiration from and what her curated 6-pan palette ends up looking like. I am wearing the shades that I chose on my eyes today. There will be a mini eyeshadow tutorial at the end of this video just so you can see how the shades work and how I created this look. So I'm gonna start out by showing you what my little mini curated palette looks like, what exactly the colors are, and why I chose these shades. Then we'll jump into the mini tutorial and then we'll wrap up at the end. Without further ado, let's get started. I had so many ideas for what I wanted to do with this palette. I had poppies in mind, you know, like a bright coral red color. I had daffodils and dandelions in mind, which would be yellows and oranges. I also kind of wanted to incorporate greens, but turns out I don't have a lot of greens as single shadows. So I ended up settling on the idea of purples and lavender. So lavender is a wildflower. Lavender runs rampant all over the place, or even just purple flowers in general. So that was the main focus of my palette, but also you can see blue in my inner corner. I know that sometimes you see bright blue flowers pop up, but the way I was thinking of this was sky related. And with that in mind, this is the palette that I came up with. So this is the spring wildflower vibe palette that I decided to create. So we have two matte shades in here. We have these two over here. We have a bright gold shade that I kind of thought of as the sun. We have this really pretty baby blue shimmer shade. And then again, we have the matte pinky purple shade right here, a shimmery purple shade, and then this deep purple shade right here. So I'm pretty sure most of these shadows are Colourpop except for the gold shade right here and the purple shade right there. Those both are MakeupGeek shadows. I wish that I would have had more colorful shades in my collection because I really don't have that many colorful single shadows, and I'm glad that I did this because now I know that, and the next time I go to order some single pan shadows, I can keep that in mind. But I'm very happy with the way this turned out. I am wearing, again, all of the colors on my eyes today. There will be a mini tutorial after this segment so I can show you exactly how I used all of these. All of them performed pretty well. This dark purple shade, it used to be a lot better than it is now. I've had it for a few years, you know, it's been in my collection for a while, so it doesn't perform as well as it once upon a time did, but it definitely did the job and I think it looks really good. I really struggled with this last shade. I don't know exactly what I was hoping to put in here. Maybe like a bright yellow color That actually, yeah, a bright yellow color is what I would have loved to have incorporated into this palette, but I don't have a bright yellow color as a single pan shadow. So I went ahead and just settled with this nice transition color. Truly this one though, if I could have popped some other kind of bright color in here, I would have. But again, I didn't have one, so it is what it is. I really love the way that this turned out. I love the blue in the inner corner. That really just pulled it all together, and I loved the way that looked. So let me talk a little bit about all of the shades. This is the first shade in my little curated palette. This is the shade Howlin. It's this nice matte, really light purple shade. Let me give it a swatch for you. This is, I mean, it's really light. You're barely gonna be able to see it. It does build up on the eye though, and it blends really, really well. I don't know how well you'll be able to see that on the back of my hand, but there is the shade Howlin. You really like barely can see it. Next we have the shade Prowlin. So this is also a very light purple color, but this has quite a sheen. This is also by Colourpop. So Howlin and Prowlin. This one is Prowlin. We'll give this one a swatch. All right, so you can see Prowlin right there next to Howlin. So we've got quite a shimmery purple color and then that matte purple color so far. And both of these again are from Colourpop. Next we have this deep purple shadow. This is by MakeupGeek. This is an older shade. This is in the shade Caitlin Rose. I believe this was also a part of a campaign. So part of the proceeds from the sales of this shade went to a foundation, which is why it's called Caitlin Rose. So this is again by MakeupGeek, and it is a deep metallic purple color. All right, and there is the shade Caitlin Rose next to Prowlin and Howlin. So definitely much darker than the other two. You can kind of see a bit of the shift and the sheen in that color, but it is a little bit older and has lost a little bit of the oomph that it used to carry, but still definitely very pretty. Next we have the one blue shade in my little curated palette. This is a shimmery blue color in the shade Bassline. This is also by the brand Colourpop. All right, I went ahead and popped that one next to Howlin. So now we have Bassline, Howlin, Prowlin, and Caitlin Rose. So that blue really pops out against all of those purples, and you can see the shift and shimmer in that shade. Let's move on to this shade. This is a foiled shadow by MakeupGeek. It is in the color Magic Act. There you go, you can kind of see it right there. It's this really bright, vibrant gold color, and again, it is a foiled eyeshadow, so it packs quite a punch. Here is that shadow down next to Caitlin Rose, so both MakeupGeek shadows are right next to each other. As you can see, this has got quite the foil to it and looks really pretty. Finally, the last shade in this palette is my one matte neutral shade. This is also by Colourpop in the shade Wake Up Call. It's just a plain warm toned neutral color. And here that color is lined up with all of the rest of them. I do wish that this was more of a yellow toned color, but I didn't have one in a single pan form. So this is what we're doing, and we made do. And it worked okay. So there are all of the shades. Dun, da, da, da. All right, so that's the palette that I created. Those are the shades that I chose. I'm very happy with this, and I'm really happy about the way that the look came out. So without further ado, let's jump into the tutorial part of this video so you can see exactly how I created this look, how the shadows perform, how they work together, and then we'll wrap up right after that. Hello and welcome to the tutorial portion of this video. I obviously don't have anything on my eyes right now. Actually, I do have eyeshadow primer, and I have set my eyeshadow primer. So my eyes are all prepped and ready to go. I do have my base makeup on and my eyebrows on, but again, still have to do the eyeshadow tutorial as well as mascara, maybe a little bit of eyeliner. I'm not totally sure. Lips and highlighter, don't have any of that on. But we're just gonna focus on the eyes. You already know what my palette looks like, so here it is right here. I'm pretty sure I'm going to use all of these shades, but I guess we'll see. So let's go ahead and just get started with it. You've already seen what my eyes are going to look like. I have no idea yet. I have a general idea of what I want this to look like. I do want this eyeshadow to be very light, very refreshing, because that's what I think of when I think of spring. I think of fresh, bright, refreshing. So I think I'm going to focus all of the purple shades on the top of my eye, the light blue shade on the inner corner, and then this golden color and maybe this transition shade on the lower lash line. This was based off of the sun, so it probably should go on the top of the eye, but that's not how we're gonna do things. So I'm gonna start off with the shade Howlin, the light purple transition shade, and I'm gonna pop that in all of my crease. Since the focus of this video is the eyes, let me actually zoom you in a smidge. Hey. All right. That shade actually blended really, really well onto the eyes. I'm pretty sure that's actually the first time I've ever used that shade. Yeah. Okay, so next I am going to go in with the darkest shade in this palette, that bright dark purple Caitlin Rose. I have had this shade for a decent amount of time, so I think it has lost a little bit of its oomph. So it'll be interesting to see how well it works. I am going to go in with the Urban Decay Naked 2 brush, and I'm going to take the flat shader side and I'm going to wet that. And then I'm just going to pick up that dark shade. Oh, we are going to focus this on the outer part of my eye. So now that that's down, I am going to take this small Morphe brush and I'm going to try and dig into that dark purple shade a little bit to try and buff it into the crease. I don't know how well it's going to pick up. Not well, it seems, but maybe. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, then I'm gonna blend these a bit. I'm actually gonna go back in with Howlin, that light purple shade, and just pick a little bit of that up on my blending brush just to kind of pop over, make sure everything's blending together properly. I'm gonna dampen my brush one more time, just make sure that that Caitlin Rose shade is just nice and vibrant on my eye. Okay, now that we've got those shades down, I am going to go in with the last purple shade, that middle shade right there, and I'm going to pop that onto the rest of my eye. Most of the rest of my eye. I'll probably stop right at this, about here, so that I can put that blue shade right in the inner corner and then in the inner corner. So I'll take that light purple shade, Prowlin, and I'll put it from where this dark shade ends to like right here-ish. And I am going to wet a brush. We're gonna take this small flat Morphe brush, gonna wet it. Okay, now that that shade is down, I am gonna go back in with that brush I was using earlier to try and blend that dark purple shade. And I'm gonna go back into that dark purple shade and try and pick some of it up and just kind of place it right where those colors come together. And then also up into the crease a bit. Okay, next we're gonna go in with that blue shade, so this really pretty blue shade, and I'm gonna take this little Colourpop brush. This doesn't have any kind of number on it, but it's this really flat brush, and we are of course going to wet it. And I'm gonna dip into that shade Bassline. It's picking up really well. And then I'm gonna put it on my inner corner, like right on the lid, and then down, and then follow it along my lower inner lash line. I'm actually going to bring it out a little bit more because I really don't want to miss out on this blue. God, that's so pretty. I feel like it's not picking up on camera almost at all, but this is such a cool color. Oh my my gosh. I'm so happy that this is turning out the way I kind of had pictured it in my mind. Okay, so I'm not quite done with that shade. I am going to go in with this really small blending brush, and I'm going to pick up that blue shade and just kind of tap it on the inner corner just to make sure I have a lot of that color and shimmer. Now we have that blue color down. I am going to go in with these last two shades, and I'm going to brighten up that lower lash line with a spot of sun. So I'm hoping this doesn't just totally kill the vibe I'm going for and adds to it instead, but I guess we'll see. So I am going to lightly blend this transition shade, the shade Wake Up Call, onto my lower lash line, and then we're going to go in and just pop this bright gold in the shade Magic Act onto the lower lash line. So bottom lash line first. I'm going to take this little brush that comes in the Dose of Color palettes, and we're going to take the blending side and just kind of very lightly, I don't want a lot of it, just a bit. Just have something underneath that bright gold color. Alright, and that's it. That's literally all I want, just a little bit. And then I need, ooh, this is what I need. Okay, so I'm gonna take this, it's like a smudger brush. This is by Sigma. This is their short shader brush. This is the E20 brush, and I'm going to, can you guess? Wet it. And I'm going to pick up that gold shade and I'm going to press it onto my bottom lash line. I'm going to go ahead and take my finger and try and use that to amplify. That seems to be working a little bit better. Can you see it pop up? Okay, so now that we've got pretty much everything where I want it, I am going to go in and buff up some of these shades. I am going to go back in with my blending brush that I used on the dark purple and try and just build that up a little bit out here. And then I'm going to take my finger and I'm going to dip into Prowlin, the shimmery purple color, and I'm going to just capture back some of that brightness of that color right in the center of my lid. I think what I'm also going to do is I'm going to take a gold eyeliner. I have this gold eyeliner by Colourpop. This is in the shade Dirty Talk, and I'm going to run that along my lower lash line to kind of match that gold shadow that we put there. And then I am going to add a baby wing. So let me add the wing, put on some mascara. I mean, you already know what the final result looks like because you've seen it, but I'll still wrap up this portion of the video properly. All right, the rest of the makeup is on and complete. I'm absolutely loving it, but let's move on to the rest of the video. Right, and there we have it. This is my curated 6-pan palette inspired by wildflowers and springtime. I'm very happy with it. I know that there's a lot of different directions that I could have gone with this. However, this is kind of the best I did with the shadows that I had, and I love it. Now that you've seen my video, I would love it if you went over to Zeyn's channel and gave her video a look. Again, I'm going to be very excited to see what she comes up with. If you create your own little palette, it could be bigger, it could be smaller than this. Definitely let us know on Instagram. I would love to see what kind of curated palette you come up with based on the theme wildflowers. Thank you so much to Zeyn for reaching out to me and wanting to collaborate on this video idea. I had so much fun picking out these shadows and then putting them on my eye. Definitely gonna play around with this a little bit more. I might end up pulling these two shades out and just using these or popping other colors in here. Definitely not going to put these away yet. If you liked this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and if you want to subscribe for more content, don't forget to do so before you go. If you have any other concepts or themes or ideas that you'd like to see, please leave them down in the comments below. If you're here from Zeyn's channel, hi, hello, thank you for being here. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to stick around, definitely consider subscribing perhaps. And I think that's everything I had for you today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.